Vince Gill is a name that resonates through the very foundations of country music like a perfectly strummed acoustic chord. For decades, he has been the gold standard of what it means to be a country artist, seamlessly blending breathtaking musicianship with lyrics that feel like they were pulled straight from the human soul. His mantle is weighed down by 22 Grammy Awards, more than any other male country artist in history, alongside a staggering 18 Country Music Association awards. He is a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, a revered member of the Grand Ole Opry, and a man who has collaborated with virtually every legend who has ever picked up a microphone. Yet, despite a career that has been lived largely in the spotlight, there's always been a shadow of speculation that has followed him. Whispered rumors, half-truths, and assumptions have swirled around some of the most pivotal moments of his life. But now, at 67 years old, Vince Gill is finally breaking his silence. He is setting the record straight, confirming the rumors that have persisted for years, and in doing so, he is completely reshaping the way we view one of country music's most humble giants. Some fans are celebrating his candor, others are entirely stunned by his admissions, and a lingering question remains: why did he wait so long to tell the truth? To understand the weight of his recent confirmations, we have to go back to the beginning of a story that feels less like a Hollywood script and more like a testament to destiny, heartbreak, and unyielding integrity. The conversation surrounding Vince Gill has always been inextricably linked to his other legendary gig, his role in the Eagles. For years, the rumors surrounding his induction into one of the most iconic rock bands in history were messy. Skeptics claimed he forced his way in, that he was trying to pivot away from country music, or that he was overstepping his bounds by filling shoes that simply couldn't be filled. The truth, however, as Gill finally confirms at 67, is rooted in profound grief, quiet respect, and a phone call he never saw coming. The story really begins in 2016, a year that left the music world paralyzed by the loss of Glenn Frey. Frey wasn't just a founding member of the Eagles. He was the fiery heartbeat of the group, the voice behind Take It Easy and Hotel California. When he passed away, Don Henley made it abundantly clear that he did not see a path forward for the band. The Eagles, it seemed, were destined to be etched into history as a closed chapter. But behind closed doors, the wheels of fate were slowly turning, driven by a shared manager and a deep, unspoken respect among musicians. Irving Azoff, the band's longtime manager, reached out to Vince Gill's team. What happened next is the confirmation of a rumor that has bothered Gill for years, that his joining the Eagles was a calculated career move. Gill admits that nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, when the initial conversations happened, he was completely blindsided. He had a historical tie to the band. After their initial breakup in the 1980s, he and Glenn Frey had shared the same manager, but he never once presumed that would amount to an invitation. When the official ask finally came, Gill didn't negotiate, he didn't hesitate, and he certainly didn't view it as a stepping stone for his own career. His response was simply, "When do we leave?" He finally confirms that stepping into that role was one of the most terrifying things he has ever done, not because of the music, but because of the emotional weight of the legacy. He wasn't there to become the next Glenn Frey. He was there to be a caretaker of the music. When Gill took the stage with the Eagles for the first time at Dodger Stadium in 2017, standing shoulder to shoulder with Glenn Frey's son, Deacon, the rumors of his ego were immediately shattered. Gill deliberately chose to perform songs like Lying Eyes, Take It to the Limit, and New Kid in Town with absolute, painstaking fidelity to the original recordings. He refused to put his own vocal spin on them out of respect for the fans who had loved those tracks for decades. Don Henley silenced the critics who questioned why a country guy was in a rock band by stating plainly, because he knows how to be in a band. At 67, Gill looks back on those rumors of ego and career opportunism and confirms what those close to him always knew. He took the gig because the music meant more to him than his own pride. He didn't need the spotlight, a truth he has proven night after night for years on the Eagles' long goodbye tour. But the Eagles aren't the only source of rumors that have trailed Vince Gill. For over 2 decades, the most persistent, damaging, and invasive speculation has revolved around his marriage to contemporary Christian music queen Amy Grant. The rumor mill has been merciless, painting their love story as a sordid, scandalous affair that destroyed two families. At 67, Gill is finally confirming the reality of their relationship, stripping away the tabloid sensationalism to reveal a story that is far more complex, far more painful, and ultimately, far more human. The rumors always skip the most important part, the timeline and the truth of their intentions. The story begins in 1993 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, during the filming of a Christmas television special. When Amy Grant walked into the rehearsal space, Vince Gill felt an immediate, undeniable shift in the atmosphere. He remembers walking over to her, seeing the stress etched on her face, and telling her to unknit that brow, because everything was going to be okay. From that moment, a deep, soul-binding friendship was born. They performed together, recorded the duet House of Love, and discovered a creative and emotional synergy that neither had experienced before. But here's the truth Gill is finally confirming. Despite this overwhelming connection, neither of them acted on it. At the time, Gill was married to country singer Janice Oliver, and Grant was married to Christian musician Gary Chapman. They respected their vows. They maintained boundaries. Amy Grant herself would later describe that era as those long years, a period marked by an agonizing tug-of-war between the undeniable chemistry they felt and the moral convictions they refused to abandon. The public, however, did not see the quiet restraint. They only saw two massive stars spending a lot of time together, and they immediately assumed the worst. Gill finally addresses the sheer cruelty of this public assumption, stating that the most painful part of those years wasn't the internal struggle, but the fact that the world automatically assumed they were terrible people. Most people assumed the worst of us, and it was not fair, and it was incorrect, he has reflected, finally putting to rest the idea that their relationship was born out of reckless infidelity. Life, however, has a way of forcing hands. The rumors of an affair persisted even as their respective marriages crumbled under the weight of pre-existing, private issues. Grant later described her marriage to Chapman as rocky from the get-go, a reality that had nothing to do with Vince Gill. When Gill's divorce was finalized in 1997, it caught Grant off guard, accelerating a timeline neither had fully anticipated. By 1999, Grant's own 17-year marriage had ended. Only then, when they were both legally and emotionally free, did they allow their relationship to blossom into romance. 4 months after her divorce was finalized, they made their love public, and in a quiet, intimate outdoor ceremony in Nashville in 2000, they married with their children watching. At 67, Gill confirms that the rumors of their scandalous beginning were a grotesque oversimplification of a deeply painful chapter of their lives. They didn't leave their spouses for each other. Their marriages ended because they were broken, and only in the aftermath did they find solace in one another. Yet, if the public needed any further proof that this wasn't a superficial Hollywood romance, life would provide it in the most brutal way possible. The true test of their bond, and the ultimate debunking of the rumors surrounding their marriage, came not in the recording studio, but in the sterile, terrifying halls of hospitals. In 2020, the world was grinding to a halt due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but Vince and Amy were facing a nightmare of their own. During a routine doctor's visit, it was suggested that Amy get a heart checkup. The results were catastrophic. Doctors discovered that Amy had a rare congenital heart defect known as PAPVR, or partial anomalous pulmonary venous return. She had been living with this condition since birth, completely unaware that her heart was functioning under a massive, silent strain. The doctors were unequivocal. If left untreated, the outcome would be fatal. In June 2020, in the dead of a global pandemic, Amy Grant underwent open-heart surgery. This is where the rumors of a fragile, loveless marriage completely fall apart. Because of strict COVID-19 hospital protocols, Vince was barred from being by her side. He was forced to sit at home, his touring schedule completely wiped out by the lockdown, agonizing over the woman he loved fighting for her life behind closed doors. When he was finally allowed into her room, the gravity of the situation cemented what he already knew. Their love was an unbreakable shield. But the universe was not finished testing them. In July 2022, Amy was riding her bicycle near a golf course when she hit a pothole and was thrown from her bike. Even though she was wearing a helmet, the impact caused a severe traumatic brain injury. Vince Gill didn't hesitate. He immediately canceled 3 major concerts, leaving thousands of fans waiting, because his priority was crystal clear. The recovery process was grueling. Amy's memory was severely impaired, requiring an estimated 12 to 18 months of rehabilitation. She later faced additional surgeries for a throat cyst and a shoulder issue. Through every single moment of this medical marathon, Vince Gill was her rock. He held her hand, he reminded her to take it one day at a time, and he proved to the world that the rumors of their fractured, immoral union were nothing but fiction. So, what does Vince Gill confirm at 67? After a lifetime of letting his guitar do the talking, he confirms that the rumors about his ego, his motivations, and his heart were all profoundly misplaced. He is a man who stepped into the impossible shoes of a rock legend not for fame, but out of a sense of duty to the music. He is a man who endured years of public vilification because he refused to compromise his integrity during the dissolution of his first marriage. And he is a man who has stood steadfastly by his wife through the absolute darkest valleys of human suffering. But beyond confirming the truths of his personal life, Gill is also confirming a profound shift in his professional identity. At an age when most artists are content to rest on their laurels and play the greatest hits on a loop, Gill is experiencing a musical renaissance that defies expectation. He freely admits that at 67, he is writing the best songs of his life. This isn't an arrogant boast from a man with 22 Grammys. It is a quiet confession from an artist who has finally shed the burden of commercial expectation. In his younger years, the pressure to produce chart-topping singles inherently influenced his creative process. Today, that pressure is gone. Gill approaches songwriting as a pure observer of the human condition. He no longer tries to force a narrative or tell the listener how to feel. Instead, he sits with an idea, lets it breathe, and crafts lyrics that capture the raw, unfiltered reality of life. He understands that trying to write a song without a genuine, deeply felt idea is an exercise in futility. This evolution is what keeps him relevant. He is not chasing the sounds of modern country radio, nor is he angrily clinging to the past. He is simply existing in his own truth, allowing his roots in traditional country music to guide him while remaining entirely open to new influences. This evolution is incredibly evident in his approach to collaboration. Gill has become the ultimate musical utility player, a testament to his philosophy that when no one is worried about who gets the credit, that's when the real magic happens. Whether he is harmonizing with pop powerhouse Kelly Clarkson, trading licks with the surviving members of the Eagles, or lifting up the next generation of country artists in Nashville, he checks his ego at the door. He is constantly filtering his musical ideas through the historical weight of the Grand Ole Opry, a place he considers his spiritual home. He thinks about how a new song will sound under those sacred spotlights, ensuring that everything he creates is rooted in authenticity. At 67, Vince Gill is finally confirming the rumors, not by engaging in a tabloid tell-all, but by living a life that speaks for itself. He has confirmed that the whispers about his supposed